What's going on, guys? Car Review Guys here. My name is AJ, and today we are going to talk about how I went from a 1997 Chevy Cavalier to a 2017 Acura NSX, some of the cars I've had along the way, and what are some of the things that maybe you could do. I don't think there's necessarily one right answer, but I get the question all the time. At 29 years old, but this is not my first NSX. My first one was at 27 years old, I think. So I get the question all the time. So I'm just going to tell you my story, how this channel became, how we got to some of these cars, some of the steps I took, stuff like that. So this is story time, and I'll try to keep it as short as possible, but still tell you all of the details. And if you have further questions, just comment down below. And we do have a new review coming next week. So without further ado, let's roll. So let's start off with how this channel got started. So whenever I was in college, I went to college, I got a 4-year degree from the University of Toledo back in Ohio. And while in college, me and my best friend, Drew, we were 100% both going military. My dad was a command sergeant major in the Army, so E9, if you were not familiar. I moved all over as a kid. And from there, while in college, again, 100% going military, that's what we were going to do. And we were working at Enterprise Rental Car because I've always loved cars, as you can obviously tell by this channel. And we were kind of sitting there, me, him, and one of my other buddies, Nick, and we were like, I basically just said, I was like, hey, like, and this was in 2014, somewhere in there. And I was like, hey, like, what if we just started a review channel? And we just went dealership to dealership, asked to review cars. Let's kind of just go from there. Mind you, in high school, I drove a 1997 Chevrolet Cavalier, 5-speed manual, okay, 232,000 miles, had the original motor, original trans, and the original clutch. And the reason I know that car was in my family the entire time. I did not pay a lot of money for that car. My uncle TJ sold that car to me, and for those of you that have been around my channel for a while, I also have a 1991 Camaro, which is sitting over there on the lift, and that is one car that was given to me. It didn't run. It sat for like 8 years, somewhere in there. In high school, I had to fix that car up to get it to run, so I had that and the Cavalier, but obviously, since it didn't run, I really needed like a winter car because I was living in Michigan with my mom. So I come from a divorced household, if you guys don't know. So again, for high school, towards the end, I was living with my mom. Previously, up until that point, I was with my dad, all the way up until 10th grade. Yeah, 10th grade. So with that said, I basically just threw out there, I was like, hey, what if we just started a review channel, working at Enterprise Rental Car, right? Plus we have access to the rental cars, like we could just review those if we wanted to. And they were like, yeah, like let's do it. Well, we kind of like got into it a little bit, made a few videos. They were terrible, by the way. Like if you look back at them compared to what it is now, it's come a long way. Nonetheless, we've kind of gone our different paths since then. I started getting into supply chain with business, and I was like, you know, I could always go into the military with OCS contract, which is Officer Candidate School. I just wanted to give, you know, my degree a chance, basically. So I basically got out of ROTC after 2.5 years. My buddy Drew, he did stay with it. He is an RPA in the Air Force. And still to this day, still my best friend. Him and I talk all the time. And I basically was like, hey guys, like, I want to continue this YouTube thing with my degree, but they just didn't have as much interest. And I was like, well, if you're not willing to kind of go dealership to dealership and really help me do these things, then it's gonna kind of just be me doing this. Like it's gonna be my channel. And they both agreed. They were like, that's absolutely fine, no problem, like it's all yours. So here we are. That is why it's the Car Review Guys, because it was 3 of us that originally were kind of starting the channel. And then here we are. And the more we continue to grow, my idea in my head is eventually, if I decide to add somebody, then it still applies. Car Review Guys, plural, right? So just growth in the back of my mind. So The question always becomes, again, that's kind of like how the channel started, and yes, it's extra income. Yes, honestly, it helps with tax write-off, stuff like that, because it is my passion. There's a lot of work that goes behind it too. So from there, I did go dealership to dealership. I had my own vehicles, and I'm always buying and selling and stuff like that, which I've taken a beating on over the years financially, so that is something I would not recommend. Somewhat, you only live once, so I guess you got to enjoy it, but at the same time, I probably could have a Lamborghini Huracan sitting here paid in cash if I have not had as many cars as I've had. Actually, I know I can for a fact. So again, 4-year degree, supply chain. And I know this story is a little bit all over the place, but I'm trying to piece it together the best I can with YouTube, my job, and kind of how we got here. So in college, met the wife as well. We both have college degrees. She is a nurse, and I, again, am in supply chain. I work in the automotive sector for a good while, tier 1 automotive supplier, and then I also worked for OEMs. I worked for the Corvette factory. For those of you that do not know, I helped launch the 2020 C8 Corvette. That was a fun time. It was a stressful time because obviously COVID and all the stuff that was happening. I was in supply chain trying to get parts. It was not necessarily the most fun, but being a part of that team is something I'll take pride in forever. And it was a dream of mine to work there. So I was able to check that box. Then Lucid offered me a job here in Casa Grande, Arizona, and that's kind of how I got here. And I worked there for a little while. Very toxic environment. I would not recommend anybody work there. Their cars are amazing cars. It's just the work environment's not great. We won't go down that path. Anyway, so since then, I now work fully remote for a very good company. I love the company that I'm at. Being remote does allow me still the opportunity to kind of do YouTube in my free time. So, you know, as soon as I get off in the afternoon, I can go film in the afternoon. On the weekends, I can film. I just didn't have that opportunity really at Lucid, which is why on my channel there's like almost like a 1.5 year gap of really like no videos, because I was literally working 70 hours a week or more in some cases, and I was a salary employee. So not a good place to work. That's how we got here. So with that said, the wife and I both, no kids yet, obviously, no pets yet. So when you don't have kids and you don't have pets, neither one of us have college debt. My wife actually had pretty much scholarships all the way through. My dad had a GI Bill through the military, and he signed that over to me. But the deal was, if I failed any classes, I had to pay him back. That was the deal. I had to pay him back. So I never failed a single class. I knew what I had. I was not going to, in my mind, paying for education is stupid in the sense of, if you have the opportunity, I have it free, like take advantage, right? Like I knew how much money that was worth. And so I did. I never failed a class. So I got my college fully paid for. Thankful to Dad for that. But you got to take advantage of it, and I did. So here we are. No college debt. We both have college degrees, so dual income household. We have YouTube, which also is not a lot of money, by the way. It's anywhere between average of like really $200 a month. And it wasn't that for a long time. A long time, it was only like $50, $100. Like it was really not much. So it's slowly growing thanks to you guys. We are, continually growing, continually getting more views, but we have had quite the journey. We'll go back kind of the YouTube journey now very quickly. So again, in college, quit ROTC. Then I decided to move to Bowling Green, Kentucky, because the end goal again for me was to work at the Corvette factory. And again, thankfully I interviewed well, and I was able to get a job there, and I did work there. And YouTube was difficult whenever I worked there as well. So I was kind of getting one dream, but almost pausing or giving up another dream, because they were very strict about what videos I could post. I couldn't say any opinions on any other brands whenever I was working for GM. And there's disclaimers in every one of the videos that I did post. So I could give you all of the stats and figures, but I couldn't give the slightest of opinion on any vehicle, even their own. I was not allowed to give an opinion. So it kind of took YouTube away. I didn't feel like I was being authentic. So I did a few videos here and there trying to keep the channel alive, but it just didn't feel right. And during that time is whenever I if you didn't know, I purchased Stradman's Audi R8. And I made videos with it, obviously, but I had to be careful with what I said. Otherwise, I could have gotten in trouble with my main source of income, which also was my other, again, dream job, working at Corvette, because it's pretty cool. Not everyone can say that, obviously. So, with that said, I had that Audi R8. I have had 3 C6s. I've had an 08, 2 06s. I have had a regular C7 manual. I have had a C7Z. I have had a gated manual Audi R8. I have had a silver NSX, which was prior to this one. I've had a C8. And then now I've had this. The wife and I, she has had a Kia Stinger GT2 fully loaded. She had a Maserati Granturismo, which was bought from JR Garage. I know I'm missing vehicles. I've had a 2019 Ram Laramie. I've had a 2017 Ram Bighorn. 2 of them. One was a V8, one was a V6. I had a Chevrolet Trax. At least that was my daily driver. So I've had a lot of vehicles. The wife's had 3 Kia Optimas. She now in the background, which I'll film here at some point, the 2021 Santa Fe Calligraphy. So fully loaded, top of the line, very nice vehicle. So a lot of vehicles throughout the way. But I want to talk about the one that really kept driving me. And over there is my 2015 2SS 1LE Camaro. Has like 3,500 miles on it, original. I bought it at 19 years old. My buddy Drew and I, in college, we decided to, hey, let's go in on a lease together, and we can share the car, and it'll be fun. Like, you can have it one weekend, I'll have it one weekend, and we did. We did that for a long time. We never fought over the car at all, and then eventually I got a good internship at OI, which is a glass bottle manufacturer, and I was making good money. And I was like, hey, Drew, like, would you mind if I took over the lease fully? Like, it's fully my car, I'll pay for it, all mine. And he was like, yep, totally fair. And so I did. I took it over, and I've had that car ever since then. I was 19 years old, went into that dealership, and they were like, what are you here for? And I was like, to pick up the 1LE Camaro. And they were like, yeah, what are you here for real? And I was like, I'm here to pick up the 1LE Camaro. And they're like, no. And I was like, yes, I am. So, and what it boils down to is I give credit. At the day I turned 18, the one advice I'll give you is get a credit card, but you have to treat it like you have to pay it back. That's where people go wrong. They just think they can just spend it and not pay it back. For me, it was gas only at 18 years old. I put gas in my vehicle once a week on the credit card, and I paid that every single week. That's what I did. That's how I built my credit. And eventually I gave myself a little bit more. Like, I may say, okay, I'll do $100 a week, and it's for food on top of gas, and I have to pay it every week. And I did, and I built my credit. So at 19 years old, so even just a year later, I had like a 680 credit score, which in the grand scheme is not great, but for that quickly, it was very good. And it got me approved for, I think it was tier 2 credit at the time for that 1LE. Eventually financed it, bought it, owned it outright now. So that was kind of the car that really kept me driving. Like, as nice as that car is, I always said, I was like, man, as nice as this car is, like, if I work hard and I keep doing the right things, maybe one day I'll own a supercar. Like, that's always been the dream. And I mean, here we are. I know some people are, you know, it's a Honda, it's an Acura, whatever. It has all the supercar stats that anything else has. You know, you can compete competitors with a Lamborghini Huracan. It honestly walks a Ferrari 458 in almost every aspect other than sound. The 458 sounds incredible. But nonetheless, it is a supercar. So no matter what people say, I know the Audi R8, even whenever that first came out in 2008, that was a supercar. By today's standard, it's really just a sports car. But at one point in time it was, and I've owned 2 of them. And I was fortunate enough to own a gated manual as well, which was an absolute dream for me, to own a gated manual. So I've owned a lot of cars, but to get where I am at, I guess what I would say is get the cars, at least the one that you need to keep you pushing to get where you really want to be. Maybe don't have as many cars as I did going throughout, because I've wasted a lot of money doing that. Now, I've had a lot of experiences. I've had fun. Do I regret it? No, I don't regret it. But would I maybe do it differently just a little bit? Maybe just like 1 or 2 less cars. Yeah, I would. And that's really how we got here. The wife and I, dual income, again, no college debt, no kids yet, no pets. And when you have that and you both make just decent money, it's not neither one of us make like crazy money, and you just work hard and you can get this stuff before you know it. So I'm not Mr. Motivational. If anything, I'm probably sometimes a little bit more pessimistic about things, but I am a firm believer that if I, of all people, and again, throughout school, C's get degrees. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what your parents tell you. Yes, do well in school, but at the end of the day, it's a piece of paper. So as long as you get your piece of paper, then great. And honestly, there's other ways to make this kind of money without getting a piece of paper. You could be a welder. Welders make really good money. Really good money. Better money than I make. So there's other ways to get money. What I'm saying is, though, is to be financially responsible, right? Like, yes, I've made dumb decisions myself, always buying different cars. But anyone at this age can get where I am at. You just have to be smart. You have to have the will to work, right? I've talked to people, like even when I was in my Audi R8, I used to go to different car shows and stuff, and that's not even like that. It's an expensive car, but it's not like a crazy expensive car. So, it was like $75,000, $80,000, something like that, which again, a lot of money, not crazy. And people would ask me at car shows, they're like, so dude, like, what do you do? And I was like, well, I worked a lot of hours. I mean, even in college, during the summer, I worked literally 70 to 85 hours a week, especially during the summer. During school, I took 16 credit hours and worked full time. I was 40 hours to 44 hours a week during all of school. I didn't go to all the Friday, Saturday football games or whatever day they were. I didn't go out and party. I still don't drink. I do not drink. I've never drank an ounce of alcohol. It's way too expensive. You are the definition of peeing out money if you drink. And if that's your decision and you can't own a car like this, that's on you. That's your decision. If drinking is more important than reaching your financial goals, then that's on you. Same thing with, tobacco use and all that stuff. I don't do any of that. I wear cheap shirts. I wear Walmart and One shorts. Like, I'm not fancy. I'm not going to waste money on things. I live my life very comfortably. I have very nice things, in my humble opinion, especially for my age. And the wife and I both, it's not just me, her and I both have worked hard to get where we're at. And I would say the same to all of you. So hopefully that kind of gives you a picture as to where we're at, and how we've got here, and how hopefully we'll continue to grow thanks to you all, especially on YouTube. Again, military child, never thought that I would even get to this point. I grew up with hardly any money. I mean, my grandparents on my dad's side, they, like, for example, a gallon of milk, they would take vitamin D, pour it in another gallon to halfway, and then fill both jugs with water to get more milk out of it because they didn't have money. That's how it was. My dad was enlisted growing up, so it's not like he made a bunch of money. So I grew up very, very humble. And, the grandparents that I still have alive, on my mom's side, love them to death. I try to go back and see them once a year. Even them, I mean, they're not made of money. They do fine, but they're certainly not made of money. No one in my family is, and that's just, I guess, my point. All of my family's from West Virginia. My wife's from Ohio. So no matter who you are, no matter what you're doing, no matter what hole you think you're in, just keep pushing, work with what makes sense, and just try to be financially smart and don't get peer pressured into anything. All right, I know it's a different style video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you kind of understand how I got here, how we continue to grow. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I try my best to keep this channel real, authentic, and always tell you guys the ups, the downs, because it's not always easy, but there's a lot of good times too. So, as always, I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.